Back again. How's everybody doing out there? Looking at the tractors, it's red, it's fine, it's great. If you have a red tractor, you have more friends. Remember that today.
Big Bud is the biggest, he's the man. Big Bud is literally big, like I think 1,100 horsepower. 1,100 horses live in that white thing right there.
How many pounds of cheese does the average American consume in a year? 37. There you go. You like cheese, sir? You ever get bound up? Because we got sticks right here. We got sticks if you have a problem, some mineral oil somewhere. Thank you so much for coming out, and it's great to be home in Florida. Yes. I went hunting this morning, shot 14 snowbirds. Yeah. Apparently there's not a limit on those. I was like, I don't know if you know this, but you can't eat snowbirds. You can't. They taste old. Like prescription pills, and 30 minutes after you eat them, want to watch Wheel of Fortune. I had a chance, went out to the beach this week. Walking down the beach, I picked up a conch shell, and I did what you normally do. I stuck it up to my ear, and you could hear the smell of New Jersey. So, my name's Tim. My day job, I'm a dairy farmer. Thank you, appreciate that. Bunch of lactose intolerant, non-cheese eating vegans. Any vegans? Too weak to raise your hand? She just fell over, Tim. I ran into a vegetarian this week with my truck. You know what you get when you hit a vegetarian with your truck? Coleslaw. But I'm a farmer. I do want to say this up front. If any women happen to catch me staring at your breast, please just consider it a professional courtesy, all right? I have milked a lot of cows in my life, people. I know blue ribbon udders when I see it. I do, but as a farmer, some people think I'm a redneck. Some people call me a hillbilly. I'll tell you the difference. I'm a farmer. I have a truck parked in front of my house. A redneck, he's got a truck on blocks parked in front of his house. And the hillbilly's truck on blocks is his house. I'm wearing the farmer's uniform. That's a Carhartt shirt. If you didn't know it, farmers wear Carhartt, rednecks wear Walmart, hillbillies burlap. I get asked a lot of questions as a farmer. Had a woman ask me recently, she said, Tim, could you tell me what exactly is a groundhog? Sausage? What else? All right, listen, I'm not what they call an intelligent comic, but if that one stumped you, I'm just saying. I got another question recently. A woman asked me, she said, Tim, do you really have to have a rooster to breed the chickens? I was like, well, according to my cousin, you don't have to have a rooster, but you're gonna get tired. In fact, the word he used was cluckered out. So So I live here in Florida. I got a neighbor. He just decided he wants to be a fish farmer, and he don't even know how to swim. All right, my neighbor, he just decided, I'll do this all night. But he started out, he went to Walmart, got an above ground pool. I don't know why he got the slide. And he told me, he said, Tim, listen, I'm growing catfish, tilapia, and trout. And I was like, hey, buddy, you know one of those is saltwater fish, right? He said, it's okay, Tim, I only put salt in one end of the pool. He went to Ohio State. So I grew up on a farm. I was one of the few people actually born on the farm. In fact, the day my mom delivered me, the veterinarian petted her on the head and said, "That's a good girl," you know? And I grew up in a really small town, all right? I got that certificate, first baby, born in the new year. My birthday's in June. Not a lot. I was the youngest of 6 kids. The other 5 starved to death. And I had 4 chubby sisters and 1 skinny brother, so guess where my hand-me-downs came from, all right? And my mom used to say, listen, Tim, nobody will notice that your sweater button's on the wrong side. No, Mom, what about the butterfly bedazzled on the back? It's crazy, but growing up on the farm, like my first sleepover at a friend's house, I ran home 7 miles down a dirt road in my Scooby-Doo underoos when my friend's mom said it was time to put us to sleep. Yeah. That means something different to a farm kid, all right? That's permanent. And at Halloween, my mom's like, Tim, listen, just go in the bedroom, take the sheet off your bed, you can go as a ghost. Well, I had wet the bed the night before. I looked like an egg, sunny side up. So, I grew up on well water. If you're not familiar with well water, that's when they drill a hole right next to the septic tank. Then they pump that out and the whole family drinks it, and that's... Seriously, there was so much lead in the water that we grew up on, we would go deer hunting with squirt guns. Two of you. All right. There was so much heavy metal that when you turn on the kitchen sink, you could hear AC/DC. Yeah. I ran to the yard sprinkler and got shrapnel. But my mom homeschooled all of us for a while. That was until my brother got held back twice. Now he's a congressman. Yeah, he is. But my mom would take us to yard sales to teach us supply and demand. And occasionally she would buy us board games from a yard sale. I don't know if y'all ever got a board game from a, I don't know, what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if you've ever tried to play Hungry Hippo with one marble. It's intense. One time she bought us this Chinese knockoff version of Monopoly. It was called Mwapawi. And we could never win at a game because the entire board was already owned by the Chinese government. So, I learned this from my mom. My mom, she's had that conversation, you know, now Tim, listen, before you cross the street, make sure you look both ways and let the cars pass. I lived on a gravel road. I was there for 2 days. Finally, the mailman came by. I learned this from my brother. I don't care how much your brother double dog dares you, don't ever pee on electric fence. My sister did it and she got a scar. To this day, I still use her as a Wi-Fi hotspot. All my birthday presents, my Christmas presents came from either the feed store or the Tractor Supply. One year I got a bag of bird seed. I planted it. No birds grew. One year they got me a pogo stick. Let's just say that any toy that tries to defy gravity, not the friend of a fat kid. I got to use it twice. I went up, I went down. Had to have surgery. I had a talk with Santa. I'm like, listen, Santa, the pogo stick was cool, but you know I live on a gravel road. That year, I got a pair of roller skates. We lived on a gravel road. My dad got us a slip and slide. You know what it's like at 30 miles an hour to lose a nipple? Just pink. Thank God I had 2 more. You know? That's what that well water will do for you. Grow some appendages. Some appendages. Oh, it's my turn again. I had to ride the country school bus. I don't know if any of y'all ever rode a country school bus on a gravel road, but it is bumpy, all right? Like, we had 3 or 4 assigned seats because we never knew where we were going to end up. And it was so bumpy. I'm not kidding. There was one kid in my class that stuttered, and the only time you could have a conversation with him was on the bus. I understand you now. And the county was so small, it only owned 1 bus. It was painted half yellow and half blue because they used it for the school and the prison. You want to fall asleep on that bus, you know, wake up in shackles. I had a cousin rode that bus every day for 42 years. Finally got his GED in prison. We were proud of him. I was in 4-H. And the cool thing about being at 4-H was you got to skip school, take your favorite farm animal to the county fair. And I wanted to show my 3-legged rabbit, Lucky. He died. And then I had this, one year I had this prize-winning black Angus bull. And he only had one testicle. His name was Single Shot. We didn't win any ribbons. By God, we got voted best personality. You know? And the only year I ever won a ribbon was the year that I showed a pig. And the whole idea of a fat kid leading a pig around on a leash. My grandpa's like, boy, that ain't sexy. You know, that ain't. And you know I was a fat kid when the judge shook the pig's hand and put the ribbon on me. But going to the fair there, that was always, some of my best memories were at that county fair, like my first kiss with a girl. And then, you know, the other thing was the Ferris wheel, you know. And I remember getting on that thing, looking over it, you know. You look over at the guy running it. The one-eyed, tattooed ex-con that for 5 minutes I'm willing to trust him with my life. Outside that fence, I wouldn't let that man oil the chain on my bike. But apparently, when I'm 250 feet in the air swinging in a basket, I'm pretty sure Winky could concentrate on all the balls. I failed my first driver's test. I was confused by the asphalt. My first automobile accident, I was delivering live chickens down the street to my aunt's house. What hits me on my blind side? The egg truck. When the officer arrived, he's like, who got to the stop sign first? That's intelligent riding, people. That's thank you. I was in FFA, Future Farmers of America. We got in trouble in FFA for crossbreeding different animals. We crossed a jackass with a skunk. We got an attorney. Yeah. We crossed the attorney back with a skunk, still an attorney. Except now he worked for PETA. We were going to cross the attorney back with a jackass. Apparently some things even a jackass won't. They have morals. But I remember it, when I was in FFA, I had to haul some animals back home from the fair, and had a livestock trailer, and it had more holes in it than it should. And I had cows in the back of this thing. And let's just say that being cows, they will deposit what they will where they may. And I'm telling you people, the speed of 62 miles an hour, the terminal velocity of cow manure hurling out the side of that trailer will plaster the entire windshield of a highway patrol vehicle. I know. Too bad he was on a motorcycle. He wrote me a ticket. He wrote me a ticket. It's my cousin, the deputy. He wrote me a ticket. He's like, you need to talk to the cows. I talked to the cows. You know what they said? Moo. What? I'm like, really, dude? You're the one driving shit-faced. What? Goodness gracious. So I grew up in the country. That's obvious. But what they're telling me now is I grew up in a rural community, I don't like that word rural, all right? It reminds me of my aunt when she didn't have her teeth in and she was yelling at my Uncle Earl. She's like, "Bro! Bro! Written the ruck! Written the ruck!" So this is a true story about growing up in rural Florida. So at the time, I was 17, right out of high school, and it was a Friday night. And I was doing what every underage drinking kid in rural America does. I was on a 30-mile round trip to the only place in 3 counties that would sell me beer. So at the time, I'm driving a clapped out Ford Bronco. And for you younger people that don't know what a Bronco is, Google O.J. Simpson. So I'm on my way home from this convenience store, and I'm on this 2-lane country road. And I noticed a little car in front of me kind of pops up in the air, comes off into the ditch. Well, I get up on this car, and I realize that they had just run over a 6-foot alligator. Yeah. So where I'm from, it's just good country manners that if you happen to hit an animal, you get first dibs on the meat. That's just how it is. So I walked up to the car. I noticed a woman was driving. I knocked on her window, and I'm like, "Hey, lady, you want the meat?" And all she said was, "I'm married." You know? She took off so fast, she hit 2 squirrels. I'm like, sweet. Appetizers. So a Bronco was the original SUV. You had a front seat, a back seat, and then a luggage area behind the back seat where you'd put things like squirrels and beer, you know? So I put the squirrels in the back. I put the beer was already there, and I put the gator in there. I just put this gator in there, and I felt like I needed to cover him up. And all I had was an old T-shirt that I'd won on spring break. I just flipped it over the top, and I'm like, "We're going to freezer camp, buddy." So I get about 5 miles down the road, and I start to hear a noise in the back of my Bronco. And I said to myself, "Well, Tim, you just put a dead alligator in the back of your Bronco." And that's when I had an epiphany. There might be a difference between dead and unconscious. This is a pivotal point in my life, you know? Driving down the road with a dead alligator is one thing. Driving down the road with a prehistoric dinosaur that has a headache and a score to settle, completely different. So I look in my rearview mirror, and up over the back seat, I see one eyeball suspiciously looking over the back seat. And I hadn't seen anything like that since my prom night, right? Yeah. So it's staring at me, and he's trying to make full-on eye contact with me, and it's a real slow motion, because gators don't have necks, so it's a real slow, like the only thing I can compare it to is a fat guy in a porta-john trying to get out. He's like, so all of a sudden, this gator and I are making eye contact in my rear view mirror. Now, this wasn't like I looked across the dance floor, I saw my soulmate, and we were gonna dance, all right? This is like the door just shut behind me, and I met my new cellmate. So apparently he didn't like what he saw either, because all of a sudden he flips out in the back of my Bronco and he starts doing this Reptilian Jitsu, goat yoga, death spiral. All of a sudden he hurls himself up into the back seat. Before I know it, right behind my right ear. So now I'm trying to drive, jump out of a vehicle, punch a gator, you know? And you might say to yourself, Tim, did you soil your seats? No. Apparently, when you're that scared, your sphincter muscles slam shut. Which came in handy, all right? So I jump out of the Bronco. Bronco's still rolling down the road. And I'm like, oh, snap. The gator's gonna steal my Bronco. And then I realized gators can't drive, they don't have thumbs. So the Bronco comes to a stop. I catch up to the back of the Bronco, and out of nowhere, whoop, whoop, red light, blue light. Highway patrolman snuck up on me, lit me up, like, oh man, this is the first time I've been pulled over walking, you know? And I'm standing here in shorts and rubber boots, and there's a gator in my back seat wearing a Bon Jovi t-shirt. And he's ready to party, you know? So the highway patrolman walks up, he said, son, what seems to be the problem? I said, officer, there's a live alligator in the back of my Bronco. And all he said was, huh? Huh? What has this man seen in his career that allowed? He said, son, you make a habit of picking up hitchhiking alligators? I'm like, no, sir, they can't. They don't have thumbs. So he said, son, why would you put a live alligator in your Bronco? I said, sir, I swear to you, when I put him in there, he was dead, all right? I said, listen, I have almost died twice tonight. I said, can you help me get this thing out of my vehicle? I gotta go home. I said, can you call in a SWAT team? You know? You got a sniper rifle? How about a poodle? Got a poodle in your car? We can use him as bait. All right? And before I could even finish my sentence, that highway patrolman opened that side door and went, come on, boy. The gator hopped out, slithered off into the bushes. And I was like, sir, thank you so much for saving my life. I'm going home. And he stopped me. He said, son, I'm gonna take them 2 squirrels home with me. He said, well, you wanna explain to me about that 12-pack of beer? I was like, huh? You need to talk to that gator. He said, son, gators can't drink. They don't have thumbs. I just got back from family reunion out in Iowa. And this year we went to Vining, Iowa to the Testicle Festival. And y'all been to the... Man, we had a ball. My granny had 2 or 3 of them in her hand the whole time. It's just like... And nothing says a family reunion or a church get-together quite like a potluck dinner. 47 casserole dishes of food made from people you hardly know. Eating at a potluck dinner is like playing E. coli Russian roulette. Because every family's got that one crazy aunt that's got 14 cats. They all live in the kitchen. And you never know which dish she brought until it's too late. Like, if you didn't laugh, you're the crazy aunt. And I don't know what's up to you older women at these covered dish dinners, but y'all take whatever's in that casserole dish and you camouflage it with fried onions and potato chips. You just put it over the top. And you're like, sweet Doritos and Brussels sprouts. What? One dish shouldn't give you gas twice. I don't know about y'all's family reunion, but of mine now, everybody's wearing a name tag because you haven't seen these people in 15 years, you know? And it says Bill, Frank and Darla's kid. Actually, it's John and Darla's kid, but he's in prison, and we don't like to talk about that here at the family reunion. I ran into my uncle when I was out there. Hadn't seen him in a long time. And years ago, he was in a combine accident. And if you don't know what a combine accident is, that's where you take a large piece of agriculture equipment and you combine it with Jack Daniels. Somebody's losing a body part. And he come running up to me. He's like, Tim, I ain't seen you in like 5 years. we had a cooking contest at the family reunion when I was out there, and I was one of the judges. And my cousin, she's mad at me right now because she didn't win with her exotic 3-meat lasagna. And I'm like, Cindy, listen, we all know you live on a busy highway. And they had a contest. They always have the contest for the little kids. You know, they get to sing their song or tell a poem, play their instrument. And my niece, she's my sister's kid. So you know she ain't right to begin with, all right? But right now she's missing these front teeth, like her mama. And she talks like this, everything talks like this. And they let this little girl sing. They let her sing. And I'm pretty sure, best of my ability, she sang, Finkel, Finkel, Fiddle, Fart. And Sherry shat a spiral ham. I'm pretty sure. I'm just glad she didn't sing Itsy Bitsy Spider, all right? I'd have had to get a translator for that. But when I was out there with my family, we went yard sailing. And some things you shouldn't buy at a yard sale, like underwear. You know, you pick them up, you're like, dang, somebody got scared in these. I got my first bra at a yard sale. I did. It wasn't for me. Just wanted to practice getting it. I didn't want to lose the contest, the family reunion again. Not 2 years in a row. Apparently, the only bra you can find at a yard sale is a 48 triple F. You know how many snaps on a 48? 16, okay? If you don't plan that just right. This thing reminded me of my granny. My granny was a very well-endowed country woman. And I forget the name of the company that actually made her bras. But you know when a baseball game gets rained out and it takes like 17 guys to run that tarp across that's the company. She's a good country woman, too. She keeps everything in her bra. Like, she keeps the house keys, cell phone, credit cards. She keeps so much stuff in her bra. Right now, they are actually filming an episode of Hoarders. Just on the left side. It's like, goodness. I remember when I was a kid, I wanted some gum. I'm like, Granny, give me a nickel. Want some gum? Give me a nickel. And she reached in her bra and she pulled out one of these little rubber change purses. When you squeeze it, looks like a butt crack. You remember those? Yeah. And she gave me the nickel and it was warm. How warm was it? So my niece that I was just telling you about, she's in 4-H, and they had a fundraiser for her 4-H group, and it was one of those ones where you buy the little red raffle tickets, you know, and you raise the money. And what I was hoping to get was either the shotgun or the pallet of fertilizer. That's what I wanted. What I got was a 3-day all-expense-paid trip to a health spa. I know, so I went, and I pulled up to the place, and the woman says to me, she's like, listen, sir, maintenance is around back. I was like, well, they're going to change oil in my truck while I'm here. This is a pretty nice spa. You know? Yeah. So they explained to me that every person at this spa, while they are there, receives a full liver/colon cleanse. They're gonna flush my body of all the toxins in 3 days. I've been putting toxins in this body for over 52 years. And they are gonna flush them out in 3 days. And they used a recipe. It was maple syrup, cayenne pepper, and saltpeter, which what I later found out is the same recipe used during the Civil War to fire cannons. Because what they said was going to take 3 days. I personally accomplished in one sitting. And it's not what I call a sitting, it's more what I refer to as a butt sneeze. A butt sneeze. All you know what a butt sneeze is, don't act like you don't, all right? You've been out on Saturday night, you're drinking margaritas, you're eating Mexican food. The next morning, you're on the toilet before church. And you're sitting there. And you're concentrating. And your lip starts to quiver just a little bit. Sweat coming down the brow. And out of nowhere, that's a butt sneeze, people. Cleanup could take days. So the first place you do not want to be after a colon cleanse is in the steam room. If you see a bubble floating by, don't pop it. And apparently you are not completely cleansed until your core temperature is 178 degrees. I passed out in there, had a dream that I was a hot dog. Not the good kind, but the kind on the roller around 3 a.m. at the truck stop. So I come out of the steam room, and there's this 6'8" Swedish guy named Sven. And Sven tells me to get on the massage table. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm 300 pounds, I'm naked, and I'm soaking wet. And Sven tells me to get on the slip and slide that's 4 feet off the ground. So I'm trying to get on this thing. I'm coming from this angle, coming from that angle, I'm coming from behind. I don't know if you've ever watched National Geographic and seen the walrus jump out of the ocean onto the iceberg. But I finally get on this thing, and Sven tells me he's going to give me a hot rock massage. This is where they take 5 molten red hot lava rocks, and they place them on pressure points, which I like to call nerve endings. Right above the crack of my, and it was at that point I shot off that table like a naked butterball turkey. Gravity took over. The 5 molten hot lava rocks, my 52-year-old testicles, my 300 pounds, bam! And that's why right now they call me Crop Circle Tim. So the next day I get kicked out of yoga because sometime during downward dog, I broke wind on the woman behind me. I had been eating cabbage for 3 days. There will be consequences. So on the last day, they take me into this room. And in this room, there's a pond. And you stick your feet in this pond. And these fish, they come up and they nibble the skin off, the dead skin off your feet. I'm like, I fish a lot. Who trained these fish? So I'm in there literally having the time of my life, all right? This woman comes busting in the side door, and she's like, get out of the water and put your pants back on. I'm like, lady, how hard would it be to have a sign up that says no exfoliating of your nether regions? I gotta tell you, those little fish, they taste like calamari. Just only meat I had eaten in 3 days. So since I got back from the spa, I have been trying to eat a little healthier, lose some weight. I went on a diet, had to go on a 3rd one to get enough to eat. But I went on the Slim Fast diet. I don't know if you've ever tried the Slim Fast diet. Apparently it doesn't work when you put ice cream in the shake. So I started putting Jim Beam in it. I was getting fat, but I didn't care, you know? And people were like, Tim, what are you drinking? A Slim Jim. And some of you ladies are using way too much time and effort trying to get rid of wrinkles. I know how to get rid of wrinkles. Eat another cupcake. You ever seen a chubby person with wrinkles? I ate a lot of cupcakes, all right? Fat don't crack. That's what I'm telling you. Fat don't crack. So. You know what a cow with no lips says? Ew! Took me 7 years to write that joke. Can you believe that? 7 years. I saw this an article recently. It said that the country of India is the third largest exporter of beef to the entire rest of the world. This is a country that's 80% Hindu that believes cows are reincarnated dead relatives. And they're shipping them around the world as double cheeseburgers. It's like Granny wasn't just big bones. She was $6 a pound at Costco, you know? I mean, I got some relatives I wouldn't mind shipping off, you know? And they say that the cow actually resembles the deceased relative. And I think this is true because I come out every morning and I got this one cow, I swear, is my dead Uncle Ray. It's got a slow eye and stutters. And I walk out every morning and it's like, like, morning, Ray, how was your night? You know, good to see you, buddy. So what I started doing was I started taking pictures of my cows and I sent them over to the country of India with ransom notes. Yeah, I have made almost 7 million rupee, all right? That's like $6.37, so saw that. And I know you've seen this. There was a scientific study out that said that cow farts are depleting the ozone layer. Really? What kind of scientific study was this? Guy walked out to a field full of cows and went, "Yep, climate change." And you know he's from the EPA. He's running around with a Ziploc bag trying to get a sample. He's like, I got one. Hopefully he's a non-smoker, you know? So what they decided to do was to fix this problem. They started a thing called a methane tax. They're going to tax every farm in America, from cows to vegetables to trees, on how much methane's coming off of it. And my first question is, I hope it's just for the animals. My granny's gonna put me out of business. She drinks a pot of coffee every morning. I'm just saying, all right? But like a tree farmer, you know, how can you tell when a tree farts? Like, if a tree farts in the forest and nobody's there to hear it. So what I've had to start doing on my farm for tax reasons is I have to know which cows are breaking when. And I ask them all, and they're all like, wouldn't me, you know? But if these cows find out they can't break wind anymore, they're going to quit making milk. I swear they are. Because you can't do listen, I've been in church before trying to hold one in. I can't even concentrate on the preacher, you know? And these cows are going to quit making milk, and how long before one of them holding it in just pops? It's going to take out the whole rest of the herd. So what I started doing for tax purposes, I started putting baby powder on all my cows' rear ends. And I sit in the tower, and I wait for the yeah. Last week, my little nephew came out. He's like, "Look, Uncle Tim, it's snowing," you know? And he's on the ground making angels in the fart death. Crazy. Some of you drinking almond milk these days. You ever tried to milk an almond? They don't even have udders. Like I've never milked an almond. I caressed a walnut one time, but some of you drinking soy milk. I don't know if you know this, but soy milk's made from the soy bean, which is the same bean from which they make ethanol and biodiesel fuel. I tried soy milk. Every time I farted, it smelled like WD-40. At least the toilet seat doesn't squeak anymore, so it's the little things that count. So. They had these commercials out again that talking about corn ethanol. You know, they're like, keep America green, but corn ethanol. Talking about it like it's something new. My family's been drinking that stuff for generations, right? My grandpa used to get gassed up every Saturday night. He'd sober up on Sunday just in time to preach. So, he's a good Baptist preacher. But he ain't drinking enough to be Catholic, so. Yeah. But he was out at the farm recently, and he was complaining about having chapped lips. And I watched him. He walked over to this cow, picked up her tail, kissed her on the backside. I'm like, Grandpa, does that heal chapped lips? He said, no, Tim, but it keeps me from licking my lips. You know? But my grandpa was a very influential man in my life, and he's the one that explained the birds and the bees to me. And this is how my granddad explained the birds and the bees to me when I was growing up on the farm. All right, he took me out to the pasture where this bull was riding a cow, and he looked right at me. He said, Tim, the only difference is you have to ask first. So I'm talking to the cow. Hey, thanks so much, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.